नमस्कार। मैं यूजुअली न्यूज़ चैनल की क्लिप्स लेकर के नहीं आता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि वो थोड़े ज़्यादा क्लटर्ड होते हैं। छोटे-छोटे डब्बों में लोग बैठ जाते हैं और फिर दे ऑल शाउट ओवर ईच अदर एंड इट्स वेरी difficult to make out a coherent discussion out of it. But this time I have brought a news clip because it is one-on-one conversation between Navika Kumar and J Sai Deepak, and especially in the limelight of the recently notified CAA, I thought that it is best to watch something latest than something old. So this is in the context of CAA, J Sai Deepak giving his views on the same. I'll give link to the original video in the description. Go and check it out. Then come and react with me. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Let's start.
Joining me on NewsHour Direct and Exclusive is Advocate Sai Deepak, also a right-wing commentator. And Sai Deepak, I want to ask you, the CAA rules have been notified, and once again, politics and controversies have just got a new lifeline, because elections are around the corner. The major charges against the notification of these CAA rules is the timing just ahead of the elections, and number two, that this has been done by the BJP just for the sake of polarizing the electorate ahead of the elections. How do you see the criticism of the CAA rules notification yesterday?
So I'll start with a small correction, but an important one. I am not a right-wing commentator. I just don't belong to the left. That's all.
Okay, fantastic.
मैं बस ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि I find J Sai Deepak's this background very fascinating, very impressive. The lighting and the leather-bound hard covers and the showpieces, which are very indie in nature, like there is a Ganesha statue, there is Nataraj statue, and there might be more. So it's very unique and impressive.
First, I think timing as an issue. Well, I have a criticism of the notification. Why did it take them so long would be my criticism. Okay. And I don't have a problem with it being notified at this point, because frankly, whether they did it a few years ago, a few months ago, or whenever, I'm sure the same amount of controversy would have reared its head. So for troublemakers, I don't think this is an issue. They just needed an issue, and I think the government has handed it on a platter, which I don't think is a problem, because I'm more interested in protecting the beneficiaries of the CAA than what the detractors think. Because the appalling conditions in which Hindu refugees from these three Islamic republics live in parts of Delhi and other parts of the country, I mean, our words cannot begin to capture them. And from what I hear, a few weeks ago, I heard that they were falling prey to the predatory tactics of certain evangelical organizations because there was nobody to help them even financially. Okay. So the purpose of bringing them here is Hindus would have been defeated if after coming here, somebody had harvested their souls. So I'm perfectly comfortable with the notification of the CAA, at least now. I think this has happened after 8 extensions being sought from the parliament.
Harvesting their soul is a very underhanded, not underhanded, but it is a very subtle way of hinting towards Christian conversion, I think. Because this is what they believe in, like the pagan people have, the souls of the pagan people are bound to go to hell unless they are converted to the Abrahamic religion, and their souls are then harvested. That is that the souls have now become worthy of a human being. So that is essentially what it is. So that was a subtle hint towards that conversion.
So Derai Durustai, I don't have a problem with it. In an already polarized country, I don't think this is going to add too much to polarization.
So Sai Deepak, the question now really is on the point that is being raised by leaders of major political parties. Mamata Banerjee says that this is against the constitution simply because what was supposed to be secular religion should not have been brought into the constitution, especially into citizenship. It now specifies a religion, and it excludes a specific religion, that is the Muslims from these countries. And in that sense, this is completely bad in law. And she also has raised the issue of the fact that, this will be a way of marking out those people who apply for citizenship and then get marked and get sent into detention centers. How do you respond to this worry stroke objection that has been raised?
I'm at least happy that finally Ms. Banerjee has clarified that she speaks more for the Muslims of Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan than to Hindus of Sandeshkhali and West Bengal. So I think that speaks volumes, particularly in light of her studied silence in terms of with respect to the gang rapes and mass rapes that have been going on in her state, which are religiously targeted by a particular mindset. Two, I certainly hope that Ms. Banerjee makes it a point to seek some advice from the law officers of her state before she speaks on such sensitive subjects which require deeper reading. There is nothing in the CAA that excludes any Muslim, even from these three Islamic republics, from applying for citizenship to Bharat. The difference is, as opposed to getting the benefit of the accelerated path provided by the CAA, they would be able to apply through the non-accelerated traditional path under the Citizenship Act. Okay? Just as Adnan Sami has managed to get, let's say, Bharat citizenship, anybody else can also get. So it's not as if people are excluded because of the CAA, because Bharat does not have a specific refugee law under which people can seek asylum. It is under the Citizenship Act that people can seek asylum. And therefore, the CAA is a very limited, inclusive intervention. It's not an exclusivist intervention. That much has to be clear to anyone who reads it. All that it has done is, if there was X number of years that somebody had to stay within Bharat to be able to apply for citizenship, that period has been reduced for these 6 communities coming from 3 Islamic republics and nothing more.
So from 11 years waiting to now 6 years that you complete, that's enough.
Frankly, I have had up till here with people claiming that the CAA is unconstitutional. I mean, come on. If it was unconstitutional, you would have already challenged it in the Supreme Court, right? And the Supreme Court would have thrown it out. Why haven't you done it? There is no point in debating the legality of CAA because it's legal. It's completely constitutional. You can debate on the morality of it and it would be endless. But come on, don't call it unconstitutional just because you don't agree with it, just because it will affect your vote bank politics. CAA is not unconstitutional. If it would have been unconstitutional, the Supreme Court would have thrown it out.
Enough. But Asaduddin Owaisi says that this is the beginning and now Muslims in this country have been exposed and have become vulnerable because the next demand will be Kagaz Dikhao, because NPR and NRC, the National Population Register and the National Register for Citizenship, is something that was mentioned in the same breath in Parliament by the BJP. Now with the CAA coming in, the countdown for the other two really begins. Do you think his fear is well-founded?
I hope his fears are truly well-founded and they come true, because those who actually have a vested interest in not revealing the true numbers of Rohingyas and illegal Bangladeshi migrants who have entered this country and who are contributing to the vote banks of certain people you've just mentioned, certainly have a lot to fear, because it affects their constituencies and the vote banks that they've been cultivating for decades at this point. Hyderabad actually has even cricket teams of Rohingyas for that matter. I'm surprised that he doesn't want to talk about it. Okay, so I hope that his fears come true. But the fact of the matter is, those people who have been legitimate citizens of India, regardless of their religion, have nothing to fear. But those who have circumvented the law and who have come in surreptitiously through established mafia networks which have been in existence at least since 1998. Lieutenant General S.K. Sinha, when he put out his report for the first time with respect to illegal migration in Assam, revealed the existence of rackets 15 years before his report, where there were established networks for creating fake documents. Today, we are in 2024. Those who have cultivated these vote banks by importing illegal migrants from other countries certainly have a lot to fear. And I hope that these numbers are exposed for the public to know what kind of silent invasion Bharat has been going through for at least 4 decades at this point.
So, well, Sai Deepak, my question to you then is...
But come on, what is this? Like, अगर तुम्हारे नेक्स्ट स्टेप ये भी है कि कागज दिखाओ तो दिखा दो कागज. व्हाट इज द इशू? आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. कोई भी कंट्री वर्ल्ड में ऐसा नहीं है विच विल नॉट रिस्पेक्ट इट्स बॉर्डर्स, विच विल जस्ट हैव ओपन बॉर्डर्स कि कोई भी आओ कोई भी रहने लगो. फिर पीपल विल कंप्लेन कि वी डोंट हैव इनफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, वी डोंट हैव इनफ रिसोर्सेज, द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट डूइंग इनफ. So there has to be some sovereignty in regards to a nation. Otherwise, what is the point of calling ourselves a sovereign nation? So come on, that is just basic sense. We don't want illegal immigrants living amongst us. If they commit a crime, then we do not have any documentation on them. We need identification. We need proper records of who is living and where they are living. So I don't see any issue with it. If you are a legitimate citizen, then show your documents. Show people who have known you, show that you have property, show that you have been living here for the past these many years. What is the issue? I don't understand.
That is this essentially a confrontationist law, and the status quo will be challenged, will be changed, and one way or another, we're seeing an era of strife, of confrontation between communities in this country. And to that extent, in modern India, do we really need disturbances of this kind, protests of this kind, confrontations of this kind, when we are actually talking about development, we're talking about catching up with the rest of the developed world? How should the youth, how should the youngsters, how should people in cities look at this law and its rules that have been notified vis-a-vis law and order and peace in the country?
See, those who wish to choose between an uneasy so-called peace and dignity and what is right neither deserve peace nor dignity and justice. Okay? So let's look at one important aspect of being located in this particular geography. Bharat's neighborhood is extremely volatile. You're not in America, you're not in Japan, you're not shielded by geography. And considering the legacy issues that we have burdened ourselves with ever since 1947, or in fact since 1946, the fact of the matter is everything that you do will be questioned by people outside in our immediate neighborhood and those who support them one way or the other. So I don't think I'm particularly concerned about it. I'm more interested in whether Bharat has finally grown the spine to stand up to these issues and squarely protect its civilizational obligations, something that we have discussed as part of constant assembly debates before and after partition, where we have recorded the fact that we owe a duty to Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan, which means both East and West, erstwhile East Pakistan as well, considering that they were being held as hostage by the mindset that prevails there as a bargaining chip with Bharat. That is exactly why we needed a Nehru-Liaquat Pact. Even that, according to me, is a shoddy piece of document. So today, if Bharat does not do justice to its obligations to all those people who were left behind, who couldn't be brought back, and since we don't have a law of return or a right of return, it's all the more important that we support this fully. We cannot let people belonging to this civilization suffer in hellholes such as Bangladesh and Pakistan.
What about our civilization and the fact that our humanitarian move by bringing in the CAA, because it excludes?
Frankly, to me, nothing sounds more hypocritical than this debate. कि आज हम CAA की बात क्यों कर रहे हैं, आज हम डेवलपमेंट की बात क्यों नहीं कर रहे, एजुकेशन की बात क्यों नहीं कर रहे, एम्प्लॉयमेंट की बात क्यों नहीं कर रहे. व्हाट द हेल आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट? जब तक पास्ट के इनजस्टिसेस को सॉल्व नहीं करोगे तब तक हाउ कैन यू मूव फॉरवर्ड? ये तो वही बात हो गई ना कि मुझे कोई लूट के ले जाए, मैं जाऊं कि मुझे जस्टिस चाहिए, वो बोले अरे फॉरगेट ऑल अबाउट इट, लेट्स फोकस ऑन द फ्यूचर, लेट्स फोकस, आज से बिल्ड करना शुरू करते हैं. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ नॉनसेंस इज दिस? Imagine, let me give you a scenario. Let's say you live in Delhi. Slowly what happens that Delhi's population percentage becomes like, let's say, 50% Muslim and 50% Hindus, just for example. Now the top leadership suddenly decides, okay, since there is like this kind of demographic, let's divide Delhi into two parts. One would be for the Muslims and one would be secular Delhi, and you happen to fall inside the, let's say, Muslim Delhi part. Now you have your property there, you have your job there, you have your land there, you have everything there, and you think that okay, maybe it is a separate nation. It's not easy to just uproot your life and navigate or immigrate someplace else. So you decide to stay on, but then you realize that this country is not what you thought it was. And you say, all right, we cannot live the life that we were living and we have to go back. Now, you're not allowed to go back. You can neither stay here nor you can go back to the secular country. You are stuck in between. You don't have any rights. You don't have any documentation. You cannot go for jobs. You cannot apply for jobs. You cannot get welfare schemes from the government because you don't have any documentation. So what would be your situation? Don't we have a moral duty towards those people to give them proper, at least, documentation? So if you want to debate morality, then debate about this, debate about the rights of those people who were suddenly stripped of their rights just because the leadership decided that they will draw this imaginary line in a geographical location. I mean, come on.
The Ahmadiyyas. It excludes vulnerable parts of the Muslim communities, which is why the charge of Islamophobia is put on this law because it just removes the right of Muslims who are also probably persecuted in some parts to take access to this law.
So I think it becomes important for people to refresh their memory. One, the discussion with respect to a CAA has been going on even before the BJP government ever came to power in 1998 for the very first time. That happened even before that. Second, to compensate for the bloodied hands that the CPIM inherited after the Mari Jhappi massacre, in 2012, in their mouthpiece, in their magazine, they specifically said that non-Muslim minorities of Bangladesh must be protected through a law for the simple reason that most of them come from the Namashudra communities, namely the Dalit communities, who do not have any resources to escape that hellhole. That's a statement that was made both by the Congress and the CPIM and the left before the BJP ever came to power. That's point number one. Two, let's talk about the Ahmadiyyas. Ahmadiyyas are among the leading founding communities of this country, or whatever you call it, which is Pakistan. Okay, so today, if they are paying the price for that particular choice, Bharat has no obligation whatsoever to support them because we cannot import people who have supported the concept of Pakistan. Second, if Ahmadiyyas wish to apply for citizenship in this country or seek asylum, the doors through the Citizenship Act, but not through the CAA, are still open on a case-to-case basis because the government will then apply security filters to ask if they should be let in. But if they ask for treatment at par with the other 6 communities, the question that we must ask is, how many Ahmadiyya organizations and voices have stood up in support of Hindus who have been persecuted in Pakistan? The answer is zilch, zero. Okay, so I don't think we should be ahistoric or we should be blind to these realities. Pakistan has a very different reality altogether, a country which subscribes to blasphemy law of the worst kind possible and chooses to use that exclusively as a weapon against non-Muslim, let's say, groups and communities living there. I don't think anybody from there can actually ask for a right to entry into Bharat as a birthright. That's not going to happen under any circumstances.
Well, so let me ask you, how do you react to statements that have come in from the Kerala Chief Minister, from the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, from Mamata Banerjee, that they will not implement CAA in their states?
Well, then they're basically saying that they will abandon their constitutional obligations and their duty under the federal structure as it exists. I'm happy they've finally revealed their anti-Bharat sentiments and their latent separatist sentiments. I've been saying this all along, that as far as Dravidianism is concerned, it is at the end of the day glorified secessionism. And Kerala thinks that it is not God's own country, it's a separate country in itself. At least some of the people who are in power there, they think as much. So I think it's time that all these regional chauvinistic sentiments are put to bed and the Indian state rises to this particular occasion to silence these internal critiques as well as the external detractors, because if that doesn't happen, we are looking at a gradual balkanization of this political union called Bharat.
Well, on that note, Sai Deepak, thank you very much for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Always direct and always fearless in the views that you express, but of course also somebody who really many in the opposition love to go after. Thank you very much.
They love to go after, but I have never seen a debate that Sai Deepak has lost. So it is something yet to be seen. Anyway, I agree with a lot of points, and towards the very end, something very dangerous was mentioned, that Mamta said she won't be implementing CAA in her state. So which as Sai Deepak points out, talks about this separatist nature of the Mamta Banerjee politics, that they don't want anything to do with the country. They will do what they want to do in their state. So at least this kind of ideology is revealed for the public to see at large. And I hope that there are people in West Bengal who are paying close attention to this and will realize it come the next election. Because I know that they will have this moral conscience inside of them that will say, okay, people should who are like living like refugees in our country right now, who have migrated from these 3 Islamic countries, should be given their moral rights. And this is something which was raised by Dr. Manmohan Singh as well. So I don't know how people can switch their positions based on who is in power. I mean, come on. The ideology should remain intact. It's a matter of principle, not of power. So I hope the CAA rules are applied and the refugees are given proper citizenship of our country. With this, I would like to end this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.